Alright, Donald? No, I'm pretty far from okay. Oh, really? What's wrong? Everywhere I go, I keep hearing about that stupid show. Oh, you mean... Huh, guess Donald doesn't like... Ah! Phew, should get a break in here. Oh no. What do you want? Okay, starting now. Underground Ernie is quite the show. Some may find it scary, and some may find it unwatchable. Until a few weeks ago, the show was pretty much forgotten, and absolutely no one talked about it. Neither did I. Until now, people seem to be giving it attention for no particular reason.
Oh no!
And I think it's a good time to give my thoughts on the show. I'll be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So mind the gap and don't be nervous as we travel back to the early 2000s. Inspired by the real-life London Underground, the show follows the adventures of not only the engines of the railway, but the people too. Watching this in 2024, yeah, this animation, which fun fact cost £4 million, looks very dated. But for the early 2000s, it's passable. One thing I like about Underground Ernie is that it actually gives focus to the people of the railway, which is something I feel it did a lot better than Thomas, to be honest. All the humans feel like actual characters that people would interact with. I also like how, despite being called Underground Ernie, most of the show was above ground. I feel like if there was more underground scenes, the sets would just get boring to look at. Each line in the show feels different and unique from one another. Baker Lewis' line feels very old-fashioned, while Jubilee's line looks very bright and modern. I also like, while taking many creative liberties, the show does still feel very inspired by the real-life London Underground. There are some nice attentions to detail, like how Circle is smaller than Jubilee, when in real life the Circle trains are actually quite smaller. However, it's not all good. You know what I'm talking about. Yep, it's the animation. I know I just said that it's passable, but that doesn't mean it's perfect. It's sometimes a bit inconsistent. Like sometimes the engines are sliding all over the place, or the faces will be stuck in the one place. Then there's the big elephant in the room, the humans. For some reason we always get real up close and personal to these human-like creatures. Their movements are also very robotic. I really wish the show had better animation, as I feel like it would have gone down better with some people. I feel like anyone can enjoy the charming cast of characters. Speaking of which, I'll talk about that next. I think it's best to talk about the title character first, Ernie. Ernie is basically the big Chris of the show. Think about it, both wear blue, voiced by a celebrity, and act like father figures to the vehicles, while also having a laugh with them. If only he was in a show with better animation, I bet he would have reached the same popularity as Big Chris. Another thing I like about Ernie is whenever an international character appears, he can't for the life of him speak their language.
Thanks for my
Kimono!
There's also Mr. Rails, who seems to be actually more popular and remembered than Ernie. Now, out of all the characters in this show, Mr. Rails defo feels the most real and genuine and gives pretty real sounding reactions.
I think I know what this is.
So do I. It's a whopping big fortune. I can retire at last.
Sorry, Mr. Rails, but this treasure belongs to the museum.
Does that mean it'll have to go back?
Of course it does.
Just my luck.
There's also Millie, but I'll be honest, she's kind of a blank slate compared to the rest. I heard the show was applauded for having a strong female character, so hey, good for her. Finishing up the human section, we have Ernie's nephews, Sam and Dan, and whenever they speak, it makes me want to put a bullet in my skull.
He's Dan. And he's Sam. And they're both trouble. Cast off me hearties. Splice the main brain. Yo-ho-ho. We've got Parrot. Oh,
The subway certainly is wonderful, Terence. It sure is. Let's look for treasure. Yes, let's look for treasure.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-chingery.
Now onto the trains. I'll get the obvious out of the way. Baker Leo is the best. While also having one of the only good designs in the show, he's really a rather charming character. You'll always get a laugh out of him, like how he uses every complicated word in the dictionary and no one knows what he's talking about.
Then tell him that a certain medieval knight is revisiting his old haunts.
Bakerloo? What are you talking about?
He also gives some of the best reactions in the show.
Oh, yes.
Oh no.
Sure.
Am I ever wrong? Dinosaur! Everyone hide! No! No more dinosaurs!
If anyone were to watch Underground Ernie, Baker Leo is definitely going to be their favourite character. Then there's Jubilee, who also has one of the better designs in the show. A thing I really like about Jubilee is that you can tell that he's slowly growing up.
Now, Jubilee, remember, you've got to keep it a secret.
I let slip about the hotel.
Now, Jubilee, it's very important to keep Mr. Rare's party a secret.
We kept our secret.
Why you can watch the episodes in any order since there's no real ongoing plots. This little grow was cool. In a way, I think Jubilee was either the favourite by staff or became the most popular, as he seemed to be the poster boy for the series. Now onto Circle. There's always been something about her design that felt off, but I could never tell you what it was. Now I realised. All the other trains in the show have some sort of design on the top or bottom, and Circle does not. So in a way, she's bald. Not much to say about her, other than I like how, compared to everyone else, she's real chilled out and always speaks in the same relaxed tone. I also really like this moment where she tells Victoria to get lost.
You to tell all your passengers that they have to visit the museum today.
Sorry, but my passengers don't have to do anything. We do what we like on my line.
Speaking of Victoria, who's honestly nothing to write home about, but at least she has a character, unlike Hammersmith and City. Apart from loving football, they don't go much beyond that. You may think that's it, but don't worry, now we can talk about the international characters. I'll keep this part short. First we've got Moscow from Russia, if you couldn't tell by his name and design. Now I don't remember watching Underground Ernie much when I was younger, but I do remember always hiding behind the sofa anytime he came on screen. It always looked like he was going to eat someone. Then there's Brooklyn, who's surprisingly from America. Aside from having a terrible design, I actually think he's one of the better international characters, only because he didn't show up once like the rest, and we got to see more of his personality. Not much to say about Sydney and Paris, so I'll finish off by talking about Osaka and... So, Osaka is from Japan. I like how he's a lot faster than the other trains, since Japan makes some very fast trains. And I'm ending this part. Despite having bad animation, Underground Ernie actually has a good selection of episodes. None are perfect, however, that doesn't mean they don't deserve praise. I think the best episode is probably A Change is as good as the rest. No reason, I just think it's probably the most enjoyable. Worst episode is probably Catnapped, just because it feels like nothing happens. Some of the season I think goes to Techno Trouble, just because it has everything the show has to offer. bad animation, decent voice acting, a good enough script, a great Bakerloo moment, and very questionable moments. Another thing I like is how the scripts have very natural sounding dialogue.
And you want to put that painting somewhere safe? If you're not careful, it'll get nicked.
I can't imagine anybody wanting to buy that ghastly thing.
I'm his #1 fan.
Really? But Millie said she was his #1 fan.
Maybe I'm his #2 then.
I know this is a rather short section, but good God, I need to get to the next part. Okay, so you all know how in Cars 2 the rules of the universe just don't make sense. Well, this show seems to have taken that route as well. So the international characters, for example, are never implied to have taken the boat over and seem to have driven themselves to England.
I can drop you off on my way back to Japan.
Also, it seems to only take one day to go from England to America.
He's coming here and I'm going to New York.
Do take care, Jubilee. They, do things rather differently over there.
To the subway shooting, passengers were frightened. A man shot with his own gun.
Also, on the back of the box of Brooklyn's Bachman model, it says that he likes hot dogs. So, the trains are able to eat food. Does someone feed the food to them, or are they able to pick it up themselves? Wait, is Moscow actually going to eat someone? Jubilee is very tech savvy and is able to work technology. Like, this thing on his head is actually his computer. Is it controlled telepathically?
And I must buy some cool snow goggles.
He's gonna buy snow goggles. So what, do the enders get paid to work on the railway? On Hammersmith and City's line, the track turns into a roller coaster. Is that not a bit stupid? In this scene, we have Bakerloo reading a book. Like, how does he turn the page? And how the hell does he know how to read? Wait, no. This is the worst one. So, it's not just the trains who are alive in this universe, but also the trees and footballs. How does this work? So, just from hearing those alone, you may think the show is a bit of a mess. And yeah, it sometimes is. But that leads me into the next part. Despite having quite questionable characters and a universe that doesn't make sense, Underground Ernie comes from a place of heart. The two creators, John Deary and Sid Rainey, love this show. Despite not getting along well with the animation company, the show comes from a place of heart and honestly feels like a love letter to the real London Underground and feels very inspired. Between the trains being great representations of the lines they were named after, and the incorporation of the London Underground logo, the kids clearly liked it, as it gained more viewers than Bob the Builder, who, remember, sold more albums than Westlife. Then there was an event that happened in 2009. Then 13-year-old Thomas Ingram needed to raise money for his mother. He ended up striking a deal with the Eastleigh Lakeside Railway to host a charity event for free. But when asked could it be themed around Underground Ernie, the railway said it would cost £1,000. So after emailing John agreed to lend the Jubilee and Ernie 1 logos for free. John very easily could have said he wanted half the profits, which would have raised money for a season 2, which cost more money this time around. But no, he gave the models for free and the money raised really helped Thomas's mother, which I think is really sweet. These points, the last one especially to me anyway, clearly show Underground Ernie had a heart. And it's disappointing many people didn't notice that. Underground Ernie is a deeply flawed show, though to me anyway, it's actually alright, and you might get a laugh out of it. If you can handle the terrible animation and editing, I actually think you should give it a watch. I certainly enjoyed my time watching it. And that's it for today, so bye for now. Okay, does that satisfy you? Hopefully this will be the last time we'll be talking about talking trains for Aaron Thomas on this channel. Oh hell no!